Srimad Bhagavatam 5:14-28. Kvapi devamaya striya bhujalata upagudha praskanna viveka vijnana yat vihara griha arambha akula hridaya tat ashraya avasakta sutta duhitra kalatra bhashita avaloka vicheshtita apahrita hridaya atmanam ajita atma apare andhe tamasi prahinoti. Each word is on Brahmastra. Kvapi deva maya striya bhujalatopagudha praskanna viveka vijnano yad vihara griham bhakula hridayas tadashrayavasakta sutta duhitra kalatra bhashitavaloka vicheshtitapahrita hridaya atmanam ajitatma pare andhe tamasi prahinoti. Kvapi, somewhere, devamayaya, by the influence of the illusory energy, striya, in the form of one's girlfriend or wife, bhujalata, by beautiful arms, which are compared to tender creepers in the forest, upagudha, being deeply embraced, praskanna, lost, viveka, all intelligence, vijnana, scientific knowledge, yat vihara, for the enjoyment of the wife, griha arambha, to find a house or apartment, akula hridaya, whose heart becomes engrossed, tat, of that house, ashraya avasakta, who are under the shelter, sutta, of sons, duhitra, of daughters, kalatra, of the wife, bhashita avaloka, by the conversations and by their beautiful glances, vicheshtita, by activities, apahrita hridaya, whose consciousness is taken away, atmanam, himself, ajita, uncontrolled, atma, whose self, apare, in unlimited, andhe, blind darkness, tamasi, in hellish life, prahinoti, he hurls. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: sometimes the conditioned soul is attracted by illusion personified, his wife or girlfriend, and becomes eager to be embraced by a woman. Thus he loses his intelligence as well as knowledge of life's goal. At that time, no longer attempting spiritual cultivation, he becomes overly attached to his wife or girlfriend and tries to provide her with a suitable apartment. Again, he becomes very busy under the shelter of that home and is captivated by the talks, glances, and activities of his wife and children. In this way, he loses his Krishna consciousness and throws himself in the dense darkness of material existence. Favorite subject of Srimad Bhagavatam. Please repeat. Sometimes the conditioned soul is attracted by illusion personified, his wife or girlfriend, and becomes eager to be embraced by a woman. Thus, he loses his intelligence as well as knowledge of life's goal. At that time, no longer attempting spiritual cultivation, he becomes overly attached to his wife or girlfriend and tries to provide her with a suitable apartment. Again, he becomes very busy under the shelter of that home and is captivated by the talks, glances, and activities of his wife and children. In this way, he loses his Krishna consciousness and throws himself in the dense darkness of material existence. Purport: when the conditioned soul is embraced by his beloved wife, he forgets everything about Krishna consciousness. The more he becomes attached to his wife, the more he becomes implicated in family life. One Bengali poet, Bankim Chandra, says that to the eyes of the lover, the beloved is always very beautiful, even though ugly. This attraction is called Deva Maya. The attraction between man and woman is the cause of bondage for both. Actually, both belong to the Para Prakriti, the superior energy of the Lord, but both are actually Prakriti, female. However, because both want to enjoy one another, they are sometimes described as Purusha, male. Actually, neither is Purusha, but both can be superficially described as Purusha. As soon as man and woman are united, they become attached to home, hearth, land, friendship, and money. In this way, they are both entrapped in material existence. The word Bhujalata Upagudha, meaning being embraced by beautiful arms which are compared to creepers, describes the way the conditioned soul is bound within this material world. The products of sex life, sons and daughters, certainly follow. This is the way of material existence. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Can you check the audio? Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So this is the favorite topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, smashing family life, family attachment. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेकः पुरुषः पुराण श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुधिर्यस्तमहं प्रपद्ये. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is based on the Bhagavatam. So Vairagya and Vidya, then we will have Bhakti Yoga. There is a story of, Prabhupada explained, the story of this bridegroom who was bridegroom's party. They were going to this bride's party across the river on a boat, right? Then I think that's the story. Yeah. So they were going on the boat. They, got onto the boat in the night, and they thought that by early morning they can reach on the other side. And everybody was a big boat, and then the boatman was rowing, and they all fell asleep. Morning they woke up, found themselves in the same place. They did not move. What happened? They were scolding the boatman. What happened? You were also sleeping or what? No, he said, no. I was awake the whole time. Then they found out that the anchor was not removed, and therefore he was going round about the anchor. So that is the example to show how, if we want to go forward in spiritual life, then we have to give up material attachments. That does not immediately mean that one gives up one's home and takes sannyas now. It's not like that. We have to understand first that this is the situation, and at least have the knowledge first. Without that, vairagya without vidya, you know what will happen? I went to Ipoh 2017, I think, 2019. Went to Ipoh, went to one Sri Krishna but not ours, Sri Krishna temple or something in Ipoh, some UP wala, their temple. So we did a program there many years ago, and then Ipoh in Malaysia, for those of you who do not know, we drove there. So we were going to do a program there. So, I mean, we did a program. We just went there to just see if the temple is still there. It was there. We went there, and the priests there were talking to me, and they said that there was a Swami recently there who came, Maharaj. So, okay, he was preaching, it seems. Said what he preached. Then he preached about dharma. But one thing he said. What is that? He said that I am 76 years old, and I earnestly request everyone who is here, who is young, please get married. Get married as soon as you can. Because I am now 76. I am regretting. I did not do it when I could, and now I cannot do it. So this is the regret. I don't want you all to regret in life. So get married as soon as you can. So this is what happens if vairagya is there. without vidya. So he doesn't know what he's doing. So one must know, that's why the Phalgu Vairagya is condemned. Vairagya without vidya is Phalgu Vairagya. Vidya means we are not talking about just theoretical knowledge, but also, as it is stated here in the verse today, what is that? Vijnana. Vijnana. Vijnana means realized knowledge. So we can only give up. There is this, what is that verse is there? The caterpillar goes from one leaf, how it goes from one leaf to the other. Unless it has some footing on the next leaf, it cannot give up this leaf. It's kind of counterintuitive because in that example of the boatman, we have seen that unless the anchor is removed, he cannot go forward. But then there is the other instruction which says, unless you have a footing forward, you cannot remove your back step. Right? When you're walking also, unless your front foot is on firm ground, you cannot lift your back foot and go forward. So how to reconcile these two things? So the thing is stated in the, we all know this verse, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva. This param drishtva is important. Param means far superior things, drishtva, experiencing. Experiencing a far superior thing, we can give up. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So, of course, in a lighter note, we said that this is the favorite subject of the Bhagavatam, but actually the real subject of Bhagavatam is devotional service to Krishna. So this is also stated, of course, this is one of the main topics as well of Bhagavatam. But this is dependent on that. Because if there is no advancement in devotion, if we remove our material life and if we have no footing in spiritual life, we are in a vacuum that has to be filled up with something. So it has to be progressively given up. This is not only for the brahmacharis or the sannyasis or the vanaprasthas, but even grihasthas to imbibe this knowledge. Even when we are stuck in grihastha life, we have to understand, however bitter is the pill to swallow, we have to understand, at least theoretically, that this is the situation. That is not going to last. So that's why this is repeated in every conversation. Like we have conversations between Sukadeva Parikshit, Suta and Shaunak Rishi and the Naimisharanya sages, Maitreya Muni Vidura, Krishna Uddhava, all full of conversations. Even Hiranyakashipu is speaking philosophy, 7th canto. If you see 7th canto, 2nd chapter, big philosophy is speaking. And actually real philosophy about the temporariness of material body. So, full of conversations of how to increase our devotion to Krishna and this vairagya, again from material life, virakti. Bhakti pareshanubhavo virakti. Is it this one? 42. अन्यत्र चैषत्रिक एक कालः भक्तिः परेशानुभवो विरक्तिरन्यत्र चैषत्रिक एक कालः प्रपद्यमानस्य यथाश्नतः स्युः तुष्टिः पुष्टिः क्षुदपायोनुघासम्. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord and detachment from other things, these three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the same way that pleasure, nourishment and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. So this is what is the solution. bhakti. Once we have devotion to Krishna, then we have direct experience, and that gives us the strength to have virakti for material life. Otherwise, it's hridaya daurbalyam. Today we have heard in that verse, apahrita hridaya, heart stolen. Huh? Stolen heart. Stolen by what? The lust and the products of lust. So that's why apahrita means kidnapped. Apaharanam means to kidnap. So the mind becomes kidnapped, whisked away from the real goal of life. What is that? Let's take 260 first. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. And this is not only for materialistic people. This happens, you see, yatato ह्यपि कौन्तेय. Yatata means those who are, while endeavoring in spiritual life. Vipaschitaha, full of discriminating knowledge. This is not only for fools who are, becoming entrapped, but even vipaschitaha. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. 267. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavamivambhasi. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. We should never underestimate the power of the senses unless we are firmly we catch hold of Krishna's lotus feet. Our mind, our intelligence will be whisked away. And therefore, in the Mukundamala Stotra, Bhavajaladhigatanam dvandvavatahatanam sutaduhitrakalatra tranabhararditanam vishama vishayato ye majjatam aplavanam bhavati sharanameko vishnupoto naranam. The same phrase is sutaduhitrakalatra. And what it is compared to. The people in this vast ocean of birth and death are being blown about by the winds of material dualities. As they flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence with no boat to help them, they are sorely distressed by the need to protect their sons, daughters, and wives. Only the boat that is Lord Vishnu can save them. So, I think the next verse and the next verse as well. Actually, before we go there, you see the Sanskrit here, dvandva vata hatanam. What is that? Vata means by the wind. Ahatanam, struck. This wind, it's like wind carries away, sweeps. So similarly, our intelligence is whisked away by the sweeping wind of lust. So then, 13th verse. There is no good description of family life. Krishna toye madana pavano dhuta mohormimale dharavarte tanaya sahaja graha sangha kulecha samsarakhe mahati jaladho majjatam nastridhaman padam bhoje varada bhavato bhakti navam prayacha. Again, pavana uddhuta mohormimale madana. This madana pavano dhuta mohor mimale. Well, let's see the word to word. Krishna. Oh, yeah. In the ocean, we can be very thirsty, but the water full of ocean, full ocean full of water cannot satisfy our thirst. And Madana means of Cupid. This is lust. Pavana of the winds. Uddhuta means stirred up. Moha. Urmi, the waves of illusion. So it does not only sweep us up, but it also sweeps the whole water up, and the wind and the water and everything gives us so much distress. And Dara, wife, Avarte. Avarta means, the demon's name, Trinavarta. Avarta means when it is like whirlwind. But in the water, the whirlwind is the whirlpool. Trina means grass. What is that? Trinadapi Sunyachena. So Trina means grass. Avarta means actually even the dust. So the dust and grass, everything, Avarta, dust storm. So Trinavarta. So here, Dharavarta. Dharavarta, Tanaya Sahaja, Graha. Not nice to hear, but the truth nevertheless. Sanghakule cha, samsarakhe mahati jaladhau. So Graha means sharks. Graha means something that will capture. Lion is also sometimes called Graha. Even the Graha, the planets, are called Graha because they catch hold of our life. We are influenced by the influence of the planets. So Graha, they hold us. So we think we are independent, but we are completely captured. So let's see. O Lord of the three worlds, we are drowning in the vast ocean of samsara, which is filled with the waters of material hankering, which is lust, with many waves of illusion whipped up by the winds of lust. See this wind of lust, with whirlpools of wives. Whirlpool, what it does when you get stuck into the whirlpool? Go down. Yes, Pranavarta will take you up and throw you down. Whirlpool will directly drown you. So, whirlpools of wives with vast schools of sharks and other sea monsters who are our sons and brothers. O giver of all benedictions, please grant me a place on the boat of devotion that is your lotus feet. So this is you see, in this nightmare vision, all the dear and familiar things in life become fearful. And yet this is an accurate assessment of material reality. King Kulashekhar's oceanic metaphors, pun intended, are not fanciful but show us vividly what actually is. So this is the truth. But because of illusion, we don't see it like this. We see it as calm waters, home sweet home. But moha, mohormi, 558. So this is the basic material principle. Pumsa striyam mithuni bhavametam tayor mitho hridaya granthimāho ato griha kshetra sutta apta vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. And when he thinks in terms of I and mine, he speaks nonsense, does nonsense. Vilajjamana yayasya sthātum ikshāpathe muya vimohita vikathante mamaham iti durdhiyah. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. So, compared to the Lord, the illusory energy cannot take precedence. She's always behind the Lord. And but those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense. So we do nonsense and we talk nonsense. So this is situation of a person who is attracted to material life. There are more verses. Of course, Bhagavatam is full, replete with all kinds of scary shlokas for materialists. Katham priyaya anukampitaya sangam rahasyam ruchiranscha mantran suhritsu tatsnehasitah shishunam kalaksharanam anurakta chittah पुत्रान् स्मरंस्ता दुहृतैर्हृदया भ्रातॄन् स्वश्रीर्वा पितरौ च दीनौ गृहान् मनोज्ञोरुपरिच्छदांश्च वृत्तिश्च कुल्याः पशुभृत्यवर्गान् त्यजेत कोशस्कृदिवेहमानः कर्माणि लोभाद् अवितृप्तकामः औपस्थ्य जैह्वं बहुमन्यमानः कथं विरज्येत दुरन्तमोहः. Nice sounding scary verse. How can a person who is most affectionate to his family, the core of his heart being always filled with their pictures, give up their association? Specifically, a wife is always very kind and sympathetic and always pleases her husband in a solitary place. Who could give up the association of such a dear and affectionate wife? Small children talk in broken language, very pleasing to hear, and their affectionate father always thinks of their sweet words. How could he give up their association? One's elderly parents and one's sons and daughters are also very dear. A daughter is especially dear to her father, and while living at her husband's house, she is always in his mind. Who could give up that association? So you see, that means even in the mind, when he's thinking of the daughter, there is association, although he may not be physically with the daughter. The association is what our mind associates. Aside from this, in household affairs, there are many decorated items of household furniture, and there are also animals and servants. Who could give up such comforts? The attached householder is like a silkworm which weaves a cocoon in which it becomes imprisoned, unable to get out, simply for the satisfaction of two important senses, aupasthya jaihvam, the genitals and the tongue. One is bound by material conditions. How can one escape? Silkworm. Nice example. I mean, it's wrapped up in silk. We want to wrap ourselves in silk. But it's a decorated imprisonment. So material life looks all glamorous, but it's just a cocoon made of silk. I mean, wrapped up in silk. But what is the result? Silkworm is trapped and dies. So in this way, material life is not at all encouraged. There is, of course, there are many verses like this. You will not run out of verses in this topic, Bhagavatam. यन्मैथुनादिगृहमेधि सुखं हि तुच्छं कण्डूयनेन करयोरिव दुःखं तृप्यन्ति नेह कृपणा बहुदुःखभाजः कण्डूतिवन्मनसिजं विषहेत धीरः. Sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Grihamedhis, so-called grihasthas who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is a source of distress. The Kripanas, the fools who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are Dhira, however, who are sober and who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. So this is the situation. 331-35 न तथा स भवेन्मोहो बन्धश्चान्य प्रसंगतः योषित संगाद् यथा पुंसो यथा तत्संगे संगतः. The infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. There is no greater attachment than attachment to the woman. Where else it is there? 11, 14, 30? Okay. Yeah. Only one word is different. Instead of moho, klesho. Both words are troublesome. Moha means illusion, klesho means difficulty. न तथास्य भवेत् क्लेशो बन्धश्चान्य प्रसंगतः योषित संगाद् यथा पुंसो यथा तत्संगे संगतः. Of all kinds of suffering and bondage arising from various attachments, none is greater than the suffering and bondage arising from attachment to women or from intimate contact with those attached to women. Now, of course, there is this verse in the 558 purport. Yeah. In the Satya Samhita, it is stated, Brahmadya Yajnavalkyadya Muchyante Stri Sahayinaha Bodhyante Kechanaitesham Vishesham Cha Vido Viduhu. Sometimes it is found among exalted personalities like Lord Brahma that the wife and children are not a cause of bondage. On the contrary, the wife actually helps further spiritual life and liberation. Nonetheless, most people are bound by the knots of the marital relationship and consequently they forget their relationship with Krishna. So the only solace in Grihastha life is that if it is Krishna conscious, and it has to be thoroughly Krishna conscious in order to be liberating, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, Manasa deho geho jo kichhu more, arpilu tuapade nanda kishore. He said, Manasa deho geho, my mind, my body, my home, my relatives, my wife, everybody, whatever I think may be mine, I offer at your lotus feet. So the more we think like that and actually act like that, the more we will be freed from material entanglement. You know, in Grihastha life, it's always easy to get into the mode where I am the enjoyer, I am the owner of this domain called the family and the house and everything. But to realize this manasa deho geho jo kichumor arpilu tuapade nanda kishore. So if everything is mine, is actually yours, Krishna, then he lives in the home like this. Putra dharapta bandhunam sangamah pantha sangama anudeham viyantyete swapno nidranugo yatha. The association of children, wife, relatives and friends is just like a brief meeting of travelers. With each change of body, one is separated from all such associates, just as one loses the objects one possesses in a dream when the dream is over. And Itham parimrishan mukto griheshva atithivadvasan nagrhairanu nirmamo nirahankritah. Deeply considering the actual situation, a liberated soul should live at home just like a guest. without any sense of proprietorship or false ego. In this way, he will not be bound or entangled by domestic affairs. So we think we are the proprietor and owner of family, all the paraphernalia that comes with household life, and which is all maintained by vittai, money. We consider ourselves proprietors and deeply considering the actual situation. So this is the thing in Grihastha life. Even if one is stuck, because let's be honest, 99% people, 99.99 even maybe, end up in Grihastha life. And Prabhupada said, where do brahmacharis come from? We are talking so much about household life being the problem, but where do brahmacharis come from? They come from Grihasthas, right? They're born from where otherwise? So there is a service that can be done. Yeah. But if we give up that means, even devotees I have seen, even full-time devotees I have seen, grihasthas, who, when the child kind of grows up into teenage adolescent life, they send them to universities and send them just like karmis. ISKCON is replete with that kind of examples, but even here I have seen. And when we preach to them something about Krishna consciousness, the parents aren't happy. I mean, they were full-time devotees. And sometimes I have seen, this is practical experience. These full-time devotees have regret that, yeah, they're serving Krishna, but they did not have a life which was more comfortable during their life. So they don't want their children to be uncomfortable. Because full-time life, grihastha, is challenging. And it's actually a great blessing, but actually brahmanas used to live like that, right? Brahmanas, they live in poverty, even though they have family, they live in very bare minimal circumstances. So, but when they don't read, this is the real problem. They don't read. When they don't read, they are officially engaged in Krishna conscious service. Not mayarpita manobuddhi is not happening. And therefore, they don't have the thirst, the hunger for Krishna, which is why they find it okay to send their children. You cannot think like that if you are serious about Krishna consciousness. How can I let this person just slip away into material life? There's no way I should be able to do that. But if you don't consider it seriously, then this is what happens. One will give up. That's why Mayarpita Manobuddhi, that's why Vairagya Vidya. Without Vidya, there cannot be Vairagya. And just show off of Vairagya without Vidya is Phalgu Vairagya. So it has to be properly cultivated, Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Prabhupada wrote here, this verse. जे लीला अमृत विने खाए यदि अन्न पाने तबे भक्तेर दुर्बल जीवन जारे एक बिंदु पाने उत्फुल्लित तनु मने हासे गाए करय नर्तन. Men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains, but the devotee who simply eats ordinary grains but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begin to bloom and he begins to laugh, sing and dance. Purport. All the devotees connected with the Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. You know what this verse ties to? found this verse in Russia. They have a proverb like this, that because their food was bland. For us, it was bland. So they were cooking. So once we, on a rare occasion, we kind of liked their food. We appreciated, oh, nice prasadam. And one of the devotees said, yeah, we have a saying in Russian. I don't know the Russian, but English it translates to, hunger is the best spice in the food. That will make everything tasty. So if you are hungry, you will eat anything, will feel tasty. So he said that was a Russian saying. But I think the next day, and we found this verse. What? What is the? Good. Yeah. नानोपचार कृत पूजनमार्तबन्धोः प्रेम्णैव भक्तहृदयं सुखविद्रुतं स्यात् यावत् क्षुदस्ति जठरे जरठा पिपासा तावत् सुखाय भवतो ननु भक्ष्यपेये. Ramananda Rai continued, as long as there is hunger and thirst within the stomach, varieties of food and drink make one feel very happy. Similarly, when the Lord is worshipped with pure love, the various activities performed in the course of that worship awaken transcendental bliss in the heart of the devotee. This is in sharp contrast to official engagement in Krishna consciousness. I am doing arati, I am singing in the kirtan, I am cooking, doing something, but there is no hunger, there is no taste. Why there is no taste? Because there is no hunger. Hunger gives the taste. If you are hungry, taste. Anandambudhi vardhanam. So this gives happiness. Krishna consciousness gives happiness that is ever increasing. How? How so? Because if we are hungry, the initial morsels of food give us so much happiness, but then it fades. There is a curve and then it goes down after that. But here, how is the Anandambudhi Vardhanam? How it is Vardhanam? Because our hunger is also proportionately increasing. So the Krishna consciousness is also more and more. So this is called Navanavarasa Dhaman Yuddhatam Rantumasit. Navanavarasa. Newer and newer taste, in sharp contrast to the materialistic, dangerous, perilous existence that is described in today's verse. The only antidote, whether we are stuck or not, grihe thako, vane thako, sada hari bole dako. That's the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He knew, of course, he took sannyas himself, but he had so many householder followers. What he focused them on, grihe thako, vane thako, sada hari bole dako. Keep your hunger for Krishna. Sada kirtaniya sada hari. How will that happen? Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina, manadena, kirtaniya sada hari. And that will happen if, how can we be Trinadapi sunichena? Big devotees left our movement. And yeah, we can sit and, complain about them or, criticize them that they have left, shameless, this and that, offensive. But we should analyze why that happened. If they were in this movement for 30 years, 40 years, why did they leave? The incidental reasons, the straw that broke the camel's back. The saying, the straw that broke the camel's back. The grass straw is not heavy enough to actually break a camel's back. Camel can be loaded tons of things on top of it. But it can, the more and more load becomes, heavier, it will become more and more difficult for the camel. And once you put the last straw, once you put the straw where finally the camel actually breaks down and the legs give way and then maybe, collapses, It appears so that the straw broke the camel's back, but actually it's the weight underneath. This was just the last icing on the cake in a negative way. So, the incidental reasons for a devotee's leaving Krishna consciousness is, oh, that devotee told like this, he said like this, how can he behave like that, I cannot come back here. These are the kind of things they think are the reasons that they left. And they make up a story about the other person who, did something to them. Oh, he did like that, she did like this, and they leave. And they justify themselves. And Maya is also like that. Prakshepatmika, avaranatmika. First of all, it throws you away from Krishna, and then it keeps you covered, makes you convinced that, yes, this is the right decision to make. This is the right decision that I have made. It keeps you convinced so that you don't come back. This is Maya. So, why? Because they never read. If we read, if we really understand the value of Krishna consciousness, we will not mind anything. We are ready to pay any price for Krishna. We're not going to leave Krishna for anything. If I leave Krishna for something, what I'm saying? That thing was more important to me than Krishna himself, and therefore I left. That's what we're actually, in effect, saying. If Krishna is more important to me and more important to me in life than anything else, then there is nothing that can actually stop me from serving Krishna. Of course, the Maya is perfect. I mean, Krishna's energy, how can she be imperfect, right? So how does she convince us? No, I am not leaving Krishna. I am leaving the Maya association, who are so-called Kalichelas. There are actual Kalichelas, and there are people who think actual devotees are Kalichelas. We have to be very careful how we identify Kalichela, and unless we are strictly following the Acharya, we will interpret in our own ways the same thing. We will think that they are Kalichelas when they are not, and we ourselves are Kalichelas. So it is we have to be very careful in our Krishna consciousness, wherever we are, in whichever ashram. Let's be honest, it's not that the brahmacharis or sannyasis or grihasthas are free from this material world. They're still in the material world. They're only trying. Right? So it's not that they're liberated. So it's not that, this is only condemning grihastha life. Brahmachari sit down and laugh at these verses, and let's laugh at the grihasthas. Then end up as one grihastha. And maybe even griha medhi. Medhi means the axis. The axis of material life. Go around the axis like the bull making the oil tied with a rope to a medhi, and the bull goes around, and then that churns the seeds, and then oil is made. So it's like that. So the point is, we have to have hunger for Krishna. That's why it is said, Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. How we will get Vasudeva Katha Ruchi? Under 16, no? शुश्रूषोः श्रद्धानस्य वासुदेव कथा रुचिः स्यान् महत्सेवया विप्राः पुण्यतीर्थ निषेवणात्. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. This Vasudeva Katha Ruchi must be there. Now, we may, I'm saying Vasudeva Katha Ruchi must, but if I have no Ruchi, because that's the second verse of Shikshashtaka, what is that? Ajani Nanuragaha. Na-anuragaha. I have no anurag. I have no taste. I have no ruchi. Why? Offenses. And there is no inquiry. There is no inquiry. What gives a person the interest in this subject? If you have to be interested in a subject, any subject, let's take, what interests you in any subject? Curiosity. If you have curiosity, if you are curious to know, you will be interested. And how will curiosity come? Huh? Association, of course, association. But also perplexity. When Arjuna was perplexed, something prodded. When he had a dilemma he had to deal with. And that perplexity, why is it like this? What is the actual? So then we go curious, what is this? When we do not know something, when we realize that we don't know something, that is the beginning of knowledge. That is the beginning of interest. So modern civilization is designed in a way that you're not seemingly perplexed. Let's not give you even a second of time to think about life or to think about the perplexities of life. You see how the Vedanta Sutra starts? It does not start Sri Krishna Bhagavan Swayam. No. Athato Brahma Jignasa. Jignasa is the beginning. You see the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna had Jignasa, Krishna spoke. You see the Bhagavatam. Parikshit had Jignasa, Shukadev spoke. And Shukadev narrated incidents where there was Jignasa and other people spoke. And they spoke in this way. Knowledge is always there. Knowledge is ever existing. Why I do not have access to that knowledge? Because I am not Jignasa. I am not poking at it. I am not getting the knowledge because I am not inquisitive. So, and we cannot be inquisitive. We cannot even, because Pashyan Abhina Pashyati. Material life is such that we are staring the problem in its face, but we cannot see that this is the problem. Pashyan Abhina Pashyati. We are seeing yet not seeing. Everything that is we are doing and everything we have to face in life is miserable. We are dealing with ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithuna all the time. And then we do not see the misery of it. If anything, we just make a joke out of it and move on with life. We don't actually stop to think. So Maya is strong. So how to become, even if we are prodded by Maya so badly, still we don't become inquisitive about our problems in life. So how will that happen? If perplexity gives rise to curiosity, gives rise to inquisitiveness, and which gives rise to the taste for hearing, and then actually, of course, we have to have the fortune of the association of pure devotees, and then we can actually hear and assimilate, and while engaging in actual devotional service, be hungry for the real goal of life, and which propels us all the way back to Godhead. That whole journey starts with association of devotees. Because without the association of devotees, we cannot even have the inquisitiveness. We don't even feel perplexed in life until we see devotees. We don't feel perplexed in life. We think we are fine. Prabhupada wrote that song, Do you know that song? Vrindavane Bhajan, I think, where he said, the man is sick and, he's on the hospital bed, and then somebody comes and visits him and says, how are you? And he says, I'm fine. She was saying, sharing one meme in the workplace where they are full of projects and deadlines and everywhere, and then the guy is sitting there and this is fine, fire all around. It's fine. What is fine? Nothing is fine, but we can't see it. We think that this is life, and compromise with it. So to see, we need association of devotees. This is what is that? Muchukunda chapter 51. 10:51-53. भवापवर्गो भ्रमतो यदा भवेत् जनस्य तर्ह्यच्युत सत्समागमः सत्सङ्गमो यर्हि तदैव सद्गतो परावरेशे त्वयि जायते मतिः. When the material life of a wandering soul has ceased, O Achyuta, he may attain the association of your devotees. And when he associates with them, there awakens in him devotion unto you, who are the goal of the devotees and the Lord of all causes and their effects. So, Vedic literature encourages us to do pious activities when we are materially absorbed. Why? Not because of heavenly planets, so that is just to, the candy that to make the karmi work, do some pious activity. But actually, the real thing is, the more one does pious activities, the more there is a chance that one comes to the mode of goodness. And when we're in the mode of goodness, we come in proximity to saintly people. There is a greater chance of bumping into saintly persons when we're in the mode of goodness. Like, you will find them in places where there is predominance of mode of goodness, at least. Not so much in the places of modes of passion and ignorance. If the devotees are very merciful, you may find them, like Prabhupada was found in America, in the midst of the Bowery, where there was all hippies passing stool and sleeping in it. And Prabhupada was in the midst of that. It was completely mismatch of a place to find a sadhu in. That's the mercy of extremely pure devotees. But there is a higher chance that we can contact them when we are in the mode of goodness. So therefore, the Vedic literature encourages us to do pious activities. And that's we will come back to this verse. You see this 3:7-20. Durapa hyalpatapasa seva vaikunthavartmasu yatropagiyate nityam devadevo janardana. Persons whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees progressing on the path back to the kingdom of Godhead, the Vaikuntha. You see, whose austerity is meager. With austerity comes what? One purifies. Tapo divyam yana utraka yana sattvam shuddhyet. Sattvam shuddhyet. So our existence becomes purified by tapasya. But whose austerity is meager, his sattvam is not shuddhyet. His existence is not purified. So persons whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees progressing on the path back to the kingdom of Godhead, the Vaikunthas. Pure devotees engage 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of all the demigods and the controller of all living entities. So once we do this tapasya, then there's chance to meet pure devotees. With that, one sees the naked truth of Maya. He begins to see the naked truth of Maya. Until then, it's packaged truth. So we are seeing a lie. So we have been living a lie for millions and trillions of years and lifetimes. Now he begins to start seeing the truth. Guru Prasad Paya Bhakti Lata Bij E Brahmand Brahmata Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. Now then, he comes to this. Here it is said, when the material life of a wandering soul has ceased, he may attain the association of the devotees. But here is the other way around, so, which is explained here. That means by the association of devotees, correct? The order is reversed. Here it is said, when our material association is finished, then we contact devotees. The verse says. But the Acharyas comment that it is the other way around. Because unless we contact the devotees, we cannot actually give up material life. So how do they reconcile? Contradictory. So Acharyas Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti agree on the following point. Although it is stated here that when material life ceases, one attains the association of devotees, in fact, it is the association of the Lord's devotees that enables one to transcend material existence. Srila Jiva Goswami explains this apparent inversion of sequence by quoting the Kavya Prakash 10.153 as follows: Karya karanayoscha paurvaparya viparyayo vignay atishayoktihi syatsa. A statement in which the logical order of a cause and its effect is reversed should be understood as atishayokti, or emphasis by extreme assertion. What does that mean? Srila Jiva Goswami cites the following commentary on this statement: Karanasya shighra karitam vaktum karyasya purva muktao. To express the swift action of a cause, one may assert the result before the cause. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that the merciful association of the Lord's devotees makes possible our determination to become Krishna conscious. And the Acharya agrees with Srila Jiva Goswami that this verse is an instance of atishayokti, extreme assertion. Atishaya ukti. Atishaya means extreme. Ukti means assertion or a statement. So, inversion. So this is actually satsangad mukta dusango 110.11. Satsangan mukta dusango. This is the proper order. Satsangat. That means from the association of saintly persons, we get this mukta dusango. Hatum notsahate buthaha kirtyamanam yasho yasya sakrida karnya rochanam. Satsangat. By the association of pure devotees, mukta dussanga, freed from bad materialistic association. An intelligent person who has understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees and has become freed from bad materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though he has heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate his separation, for they had been intimately associated with his person by seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping, sitting, and dining with him? The first point, and become freed from satsangan mukta duhsanga. So that is the solution. So we'll conclude with this verse, with this. So here Yudhishthira Vacha Grihastha etam padavim vidhina yena chandasa yaya devarshe bruhi madrisho grihamudhadhi. He is taking the role of a grihamedhi, but actually, of course, he is a pure devotee. On behalf of the grihamedhis, he is asked, "O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may also easily attain liberation according to the instructions of the Vedas." Sometimes it is understood, it is thought that the inmates of the temple are kind of deprived of enjoyment of their senses, and they're almost like inmates of a prison. But it is opposite. The people who are karagraham graham, Brahma describes 10:14:36, I think. The people who are in the homes, they're actually imprisoned. Otherwise, persons in the temple actually liberated. Not that physically staying in the temple means liberated. We have to be actually in the temple. And it can even be a grihastha who is actually in his heart and mind, he is living in the temple, whereas the brahmachari can be imprisoned with a materialistic mentality. So it's the consciousness that matters, not that I'm in a holy place, now I'm holy. No, I'm not holy. I have a hole. My heart is with a hole. So, see here, how we who are staying without knowledge in the home can easily attain liberation according to the instructions of Vedas. Then Narada Uvacha Griheshv avasthito rajan kriyaha kurvan yathochitah Vasudevarpanam sakshad upasita mahan muni. Narada Muni replied, "My dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood, and instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna, Vasudeva. We should not only be attached to the instruction of earning a livelihood, but we should also be attached to the instruction of offering that results to Krishna. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. Next. Shrinman Bhagavato Bhikshnam. Abhikshnam means always. Avatara Kathamritam. Shraddhadhano Yatha Kalam Upashanta Janavritaha. Satsangat Chanakaihi Sangam. Atmajadishu. Vimunchen Muchyamaneshu Swayam Swapnavaduthitaha. Let's see, what is the... From such good association, gradually Sangam Atma, see, Vimunchets. Same, Satsangan Muktaduh Sango. Satsangat Shanakaihi Sangam Atmajadishu Vimunchet Muchyamaneshu. So you see, a grahastha must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. So associating with devotees repeatedly, this is the only solution. And associating with devotees means what? Hearing and following the instructions. Not being in proximity of devotees only. There are sometimes people who are in proximity of devotees, but they are not associating with devotees. They are not taking advantage of that association to actually advance. They just, oh, I'm associating with devotees because I am within 5 meters of the devotee. I'm in close association. That's not association. There can be people here who may work against the temple, the devotees, staying here. So what kind of association is that? It is said like the mosquito. Lap of a king, even the ordinary, human beings, big ministers, they are not sitting on the same throne, but mosquito is sitting on the same throne as the king. That does not mean he's as good as the king. He's not associating with the king. He's disturbing, if anything. He's biting. So, we should not be like the mosquitoes in the temple. We should be actually devotees and take advantage of the devotees and hear from them and be trained. Be willing to be trained under the devotees, because that will be the solution. Because then any material attachment cannot bind the devotee to this material world. Because manasad deho geho jo kichumor arpilu tuva padin nanda kishore. Because he has given everything to Krishna, and therefore even his household life will not be a cause of bondage. Otherwise, this incident, I was shocked. I just heard recently. Bhaktisiddhanta, this is of course a very intimate thing. Of course, he has a lot of respect. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur considered Bhaktivinoda Thakur as his guru, right? Of course, his guru, Shiksha Guru, and he was the one who pushed him to take initiation from Gaur Kisadas Babaji. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was trained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But once what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Nari Sangi. The strictness of his brahmacharya was so much that he called his own father Nari Sangi. When Prabhupada was explaining him a conversation, I was like, wow, that's a different level. Of course, that's transcendental. Because he had one wife and then she passed away and then he married a second time, no? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called him Nari Sangi. Look at him. So, but you see, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not of course there is Bhaktivinoda Thakur we're talking about. Sometimes devotees say, Grahastha life is okay, no, Bhaktivinoda Thakur Grahastha. What kind of Grahastha was he? Seventh Goswami he was known as. Maximum 15 minutes he will talk with his wife, gone out doing service. So, so we should not, we only like to take some examples which are, ardhakukuti nyaya, like what is favorable for us. Oh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was grihastha, but he was also pure devotee. What about that? So, of course, we are not discouraging. Grihasthas have a very, very solid role to play in our Krishna conscious movement. We are not like having a war with the grihasthas or something, but we have to be cooperating. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu united everyone with Krishna consciousness. In fact, during Prabhupada's time, also there was Tamal Krishna Goswami who was doing this war between brahmacharis and grihasthas. He was taking the brahmacharis out and going on his bus party, of course, preaching good, but then he was depriving of the temples of manpower, and they were going and preaching in the bus parties and all that. But the grihasthas who were actually managing the temple, then, because they're in one place, because family you cannot move so much, so they were managing the temples. That's Prabhupada's way of managing as well. But they also needed manpower, book distribution and all these things. And there was this scuffle between brahmacharis and grihasthas. But Prabhupada also said the same thing, that we have to cooperate. We have to see the other devotees are as advanced. At the same time, we should be strong in our resolve to the strong in resolve. If we have again the hunger for Krishna, then spiritual life will actually become taste, full of taste, ruchi. That ruchi stage, anartha nivritti, ruchistata, nishtha, and then ruchi. The ruchi, the taste must come, so anartha nivritti has to happen. So initially we may not have the taste, so that's why we should associate with people who have the taste. And then it will be infectious. And then we will also get the taste. Yeah, virus will spread. So, of course, each word can be, a huge lecture on its own. As I said, it's a Brahmastra. Each word of this today's verse is a Brahmastra. But ultimately, the solution is Krishna consciousness. That's the only way to get out of it. So, any questions or comments on this topic?
This teaching only just now we had this concept. Muslimar told that once we are adjusted with material life, then we get reason. Of course, we have to also that. Then we both are there, both different subjects. Let's say like the ART and get adjusted with material life. Then it's just being personal to our. So how we say only this one is specific?
No, that is not without association of devotees. He cannot get complete virakti for material life, disgust for material life without association of devotees. It's not the... Huh? Yeah. So then that will actually be the one which will propel for complete disgust of material life. That is the aim, to have complete disgust, but we cannot fake it at the same time. Sometimes, beginner devotees, they, in their over enthusiasm, which actually I found out recently, I think Subal Prabhu shared, I think, which is one of the anarthas. Over enthusiastic. Enthusiasm should be there. Utsaha, nischaya, dhairya. But sometimes a bit over enthusiastic in the sense that he makes claims which are, it is said in fighting, punching above his weight. That means, there are weight classes, heavyweight and then middleweight, low weight. The guy who is lightweight, he cannot fight with the heavyweight. So that's punching above your weight class. So when he's not there yet, then he wants to punch above his weight class. Then sometimes his hand gets hurt and he becomes, injured. So we should, this complete disgust for material life should be coveted, and it is a byproduct of proportionate advancement in Krishna consciousness. So without having that advancement, we cannot say that, I'm completely disgusted. then devotees will be disgusted with us. What is this guy speaking like this? So we have to have real disgust, and that is, as I said, Prabhupada said, the control valve of the, like yogi, bhogi, rogi, the number of times one passes stool in the day and is considered the benchmark, but then that is dependent on what we eat. So the control is in the eating, not how I control going to the toilet. So the controlling of, or the virakti that has to come, that has to be a byproduct. Otherwise, this is what happens. What is that verse? 3:6. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyachara sa uchyate. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So, pretender. That is what will become otherwise. Any questions or comments? Other? Yeah.
The horse is the divorce because the effect of association of devotee should be that he reverse it. It's not like
But it sounds like.
it sounds like first we have to see everything that has to go.
So it is not a contradiction. It is actually an extreme assertion of the same principle that seems like a contradiction. Yeah. How do they? Yeah. So for those online audience who do not know, who can't hear, so the question is, so many verses that deride family life, but then if the wife and children and family, they are Krishna conscious, so how to apply this understanding of, this being a dragging force than a, yeah, how is the wife a whirlpool when she is a devotee? So if she is completely assisting, that's why that's Sri Sahayinaha. Sahayana means those who are helping the husband in Krishna consciousness. They are not a cause of bondage. They are not a cause of bondage. But everything has two sides, right? So just take a phone, for example, phone, so that nobody is offended. So phone can be used in Krishna's service, and the same phone can be also a gateway to Maya. So same thing. So there is the two aspects of the wife, which is she can be, if not in Krishna conscious, Kshurasya dhara, Nishita duratyaya. It is a sharp edge. So a little inattention, yeah, there is the danger of this. So the only safe path is if the whole family is Krishna conscious, if the wife is Krishna conscious, husband is Krishna conscious, then yes, it is a, just like if we are Krishna conscious, our usage of phone will be favorable. If we are not, then we allow it to drag us even further down. So similarly, if the wife is devotee, we should also understand that we are not pure devotees, right? So each of us, at least for me, I can say, we have, yes, we're trying to be a devotee, but we also have the demon tendencies within us. Like the Shastra says, the Shastra separates the two to give us vividly the differences. Like there is one Prahlad and there is one Hiranyakashipu, right? But actually, what Prahlad says, what is that? Is it Prahlad this thing? No. That Om Namo Bhagavate Mahanarsimhaya Namastejas Tejase Avirbhava Vajranaka Vajradamshtra. Yeah. 518.8. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya Namastejas Tejase Avirbhava Vajranaka Vajradamshtra Karmashayan Randhaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuishtha Om Shraum. You see this Karmashayan Randhaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha. So, what is Prahlad Maharaj praying here? I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narasimhadev, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. So he's not saying kill my demon father or something, but demon-like desires. So those desires are lodged in our heart. Hiranyakashipu is the personification of such desires. Prahlad Maharaj is the personification of pure devotee, pure devotion. They exist as two separate personalities, but in reality, in our situation, both are there. We have our demon-like tendencies, which we are the baggage that we are coming with, and the desire that we want to become a devotee, right? So when wife can be helpful, but she can sometimes also be disturbing. Even the husband can be helpful, can be disturbing, because none of us are pure. At least for me, I can say. So in ordinary relationships, even in Krishna conscious relationship, we should understand this, that there is always the danger of being the source of fall down for the other person, and be conscious of that and become Krishna conscious as much as possible so that we don't fall into that trap. So everybody must be individually Krishna conscious. Sometimes they say, oh, husband is Krishna conscious, wife gets 50% and she goes back. Hello, that means what? Wife will next life become devotee. Yeah, she will get some benefit, definitely. But each has to be individually Krishna conscious. Going back means, we'll go back. There is slokas which say that if you catch hold of the rope, you will go back to Godhead. What does that mean? I'm catching hold of the rath and I'm flying up or what? No. Rocket launch to Vaikuntha. No. Or after this life I go back to Vaikuntha? No. May not. But it has started the process, and once it has started, because pratyavaya navidyate swalpamasya apyasya dharmasya, so the process has started, and you will definitely go back. When? Depends on how serious we are. Yeah, if you hold the rope, you will go back. This life or next life, or after 100 lives, million lives, we don't. Depends on Bahujanma kare jadi shravan kirtan tabuta na paye Krishna pade premadhan. What to speak of holding rath? We are chanting Hare Krishna every day. Bahujanma kare jadi. So even if we do for millions of lifetimes chanting, we still cannot get Krishna prem. So what to speak of just holding the rath? So we have to hold the rath in full earnestness. Hold the whole process of devotion. Bhakti Rajjum Namaste. Bhakti Rajjum, that verse. Beautiful verse very rhythmic verse by Rupa Goswami. Manasi Japhani Jushte, Labdhapatosmi Dushte, Timira Gahana Rupe, Hanta Samsara Kupe, Ajita Nikhila Raksha, Hetu Muddhara Daksham, Upanaya Mamahaste, Bhakti Rajjum Namaste. Alas, I have fallen into the deep, dark, filthy well of samsara in which the viper or the snake of sex desire dwells. O invincible Lord, the rope of devotional service is the cause of universal protection and is expert at delivering the fallen souls. Please place that rope in my hand. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So this rope, rath, when we are in the deep well, a rope is handed down. If the person is strong on the other side at the top, Guru, who is strong, he can lift us up. Only if we catch hold of the rope. If we let go of the rope can be there, but we will not come up. So we have to catch hold of the rope. So with this Rath holding rope, you go back to God, you have to hold the Bhakti Rajjum, the rope of devotion, hard. You have to be strong for that. To hold the rope is also not easy. Oh, just hold on to the rope, you will be lifted up. To hold on to the rope is how difficult. You try, all these commandos, they are doing it, holding on to the rope is very difficult if you don't have strong arms. So here you have to have spiritual strength. That is given by Balram. And that is given by following the order of the Guru, who is the representative of Balram. So this is Hridaya Daurbalyam otherwise. What is Hridaya Daurbalyam? Krishna said in the 2nd chapter, 3rd verse, right? Hridaya Daurbalyam, Krishna, Arjuna, your weakness of the heart. What is this weakness of the heart? Spiritual weakness. No spiritual strength. Which is why material affection becomes prominent. Spiritual knowledge takes a backseat. So that's what happened to Arjuna. So Krishna gave the knowledge, and then when he decided, yes, Karishya Vachanam Tava, that's it. He got all strength to do. So that's why. So that's the whole point. So to your question, this is how we should take it. That the danger is always there, that the wife can be the avarta, whirlpool, if she becomes materialistic. What to speak of wife, even husband. If he is materialistic, he can be an avarta. Because honestly, we are in a Purusha mentality, although we are Prakriti, right? That's what Prabhupada said in the purport today. We are female, supposed to be cooperating. So wife, we can take in this sense also, that the female, whom we are trying to enjoy. For the wife, it's the husband. For the husband, it's the wife. So we have to become Krishna conscious and realize, what is that? Recognize the danger that is there, the double-edged sword that it is, that we are always, because we have both mentalities of devotee and demon in ourselves. It's not that I am a devotee and that person is a demon. I am devotee and a demon also. I am trying to be a devotee, still have demon-like. So that is what Prahlad Maharaj's prayer is. What is that? Karmashayam randhya randhya, tamo grasa grasa. So that's how we should take it. Is it clear? Not yet? Long-winded answer. Not clear. Understood? Not really. Slightly. So how to take it means we have to be cautious that I should not be like that. So I should be the assistant. I should always keep myself spiritually strong. That's in short. Anything else? Stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.